Hi everybody, I'm Clate, and this is Clate Culture Comics. Please like this video so I know that this is the type of content that you want to see. Subscribe if you want to see more like it, and comment below if you have anything else to say at all, whether it's good or bad. The purpose of this video is to share with you the topic of comic book single issue speculation, where you put all of your eggs into one basket each month and you're gambling with. This can be a longer term flip, but it has the potential to either give great benefits or minimal losses. As I shared in my previous video, one of the most important things to do when deciding to collect comic books is to determine your budget. This budget should be a fun money budget. This isn't rent money, investment money, or kids' college fund money. This is money that you would otherwise play at the casino, spend on a new putter, because let's be honest, practicing your stroke on a green for an hour will do you more good than buying a new putter. Or if you look at it, buying a comic is actually cheaper than buying a coffee nowadays and a donut, and it's better for your waistline, teeth, and blood pressure. So using the coffee analogy, let's pretend you're switching to tea, making your own and having a banana instead of a coffee and a donut. Every day that coffee and donuts $6, including tax and tip, hopefully you're tipping. In 1 month, if you only get it on weekdays, that's $125. If you buy a 20 pack of tea bags for $5 and a bunch of bananas instead, you're going to be spending around $10 for the month. So you have $115 a month to spend on comics, plus your body will thank you. With a comic being about $5 nowadays, that means you can buy around 20 comics a month minimum. You may have additional fun money to play with on top of that, but that gives you an idea of where you can get money from. Once you have your budget established, you want to strategize how you want to spend your money and plan on which books to target. By strategizing, even with this being single issue speculation, you have the flexibility to reduce risk, which could also lower potential profit. But just so you're aware, by strategizing, even with this being single issue speculation, you do have the flexibility to reduce risk, which also could lower potential profit. But what we want to do is predict which books are most likely to increase considerably in value in the first 2 to 12 months or more after release. In my previous video, I demonstrated that there are 3 main types of new books that increase in value quickly: cool covers, first appearances, and first issue of a series. It also includes rare variants, but because rare variants are almost impossible to get, I'm going to just omit that. A lot of people don't have ways to get the secret rare variants, so I'm only going to include things that you can order ahead of time, pre-order at or below cover price. So first I'm going to start with recent books that fall into these categories. So you can see I've got my spreadsheet here with the list of comics, recent comics, the year that they came out, what a 9.8 graded version of that book is going for right now, and what a raw version of that book is going for right now. And you can see in 2021 alone, we've got 10 books, and we're only halfway through 2021. Some of these books may cool off in the future, so I'm sure some of these are hot right now, but if you had bought these recently, you could be flipping them now for a profit. So the first 4, you can see they're not available in 9.8. They're so new that they don't have graded copies out there, but the raw copies are going for triple or 4 times in some cases the cover price. You get down to some of the ones that are a few months older, and you can see that they're going for, $95, $150, $350, $400 for a copy of this. These are rare, but they're ones that could have been pre-ordered. Now, the cost of having a book graded and graded really quickly is actually a lot more expensive if you do it at the fastest rate possible. But if you just send it in and you're willing to wait 3 or 4 months, as soon as you get it, if it's in great shape, if you have some way to press it to make sure that you're getting the best looking copy that you're sending in, it's roughly probably $25 per book to have it sent in and graded minimal at the fastest. You could do a pre-screen at CGC where you say only slab this thing if it's 9.6 or 9.8, in which case you'll only be paying $5 to $10 for the pre-screen. But if you actually have it slabbed at a 9.8, if you say I'm going to pre-screen it for a 9.8, and if it's not a 9.8, they charge you $6. If it is a 9.8, they're going to take that $6 and put it towards the cost of encapsulation and grading. So if it's $20 to grade and they say, okay, well, it's going to be $20. This Batman 106 right here, $95. Even with shipping back and forth, if you're sending in a bunch of them, that's a pretty fair profit. You look at some of these from 2020, I didn't go through and list everything. I just picked some of the best ones in some of these, and some other examples I'll get to in a minute. But Department of Truth is a hot one from last year. It's at $150, holding steady. It's actually slowly growing. We've got We Live from 2020 is at $250. 2 years ago, we've got Something is Killing the Children, Year of the Villain, Canto. So these are all comics that you could have pre-ordered, and even Raw, some of these are selling for quite a bit of money. Now you have something that, the reason I included Batman 92 and Batman 100 in here is that these are key issues. This one has, Batman 92 has Punchline on the cover. It's a great cover. I think it's going to be an iconic cover long term. But even now, it's double cover price. The Batman 100, I think that's the first Clown Hunter from last year. Again, it's a character that they're using right now, and I think long term he's going to have a role, and this is going to be his first appearance. So even if you sent these in and spent $25 to have them graded and slabbed, they're worth double that right now. And usually if you go into a comic book shop or if you order from someplace online, they will be sending you 9.8 copies of books. Brand new, most books are 9.8 copies. You do have some that are roughed up, but if you go into a comic shop and look at some of them, they will be dinged up a little bit. But if they have 10 on the shelf, you can pick whichever one looks the best to you and have it sent in. So these are all examples of books from the last couple of years that if you had done what I'm proposing here, if you were to go in and to do the single issue speculation, for example, if you'd looked at, let's say, Stray Dogs, and you said, all right, Stray Dogs, it's an independent, kind of neat looking covers because they're paying homage to some of the slasher films from like the 80s, 90s in a lot of situations. But if you'd have just said, all right, I'm going to throw my $120 toward 20 issues of this. 20 issues at $5 each is $100. So you'd have spent $100, you'd have 20 issues, and right now you could be selling them raw for $100 each. That's a pretty good profit. If you're a quick flipper and you say, well, I don't want to wait and I want to be safe, you can do certain things where you know, like Batman 106, oh, it's the first appearance of someone, I'm going to be buying it, I'm going to be doubling my money because I might not be paying cover price for it. I might be paying $3 or $4 for it if I'm pre-ordering it through certain comic shops. A lot of them give discounts. You might be able to get 20 copies for $80, and then you're going to be able to sell them for 2.5 times the amount for profit. So that's a pretty decent, safe way to go. Like I said, there are certain things you can do to reduce your risk. Stray Dogs, nothing had ever been done like that before. That could easily have been a 50-cent book, but it's the chance, it's the risk. So that's why you have to do this with fun money. This is, as I said, gambling. This isn't investment. This is something that you can do just to kind of roll the dice and see what happens. You could look at it and say, oh, well, there are 5 books like this or 10 books like Stray Dogs a month. I'm going to spread it out and get 4 of each. Well, yeah, you can do that. And then you'll probably have one of them that really hits and comes out big, but the other ones might not pan out well either. They might be in the dollar bin in a matter of a month or two, and they may never get hot. So that's why you're doing this with fun money. Whether it's $10, $100, my budget's a little bit more than that for what I like to play with. And so over the course of a year, I'm going to have 12 different books, so 1 book a month, but I'm going to have 20 copies of each, say, and they're going to be sitting bagged and boarded in great condition. And I'm going to be watching closely to see when they start going up, or if they start going up, whether they spike or not. So now that I've kind of explained the concept and given you some examples of what's happened in the recent couple of years with these, I'm going to give you what my estimation is, for example, for the pre-orders for previews for September of 2021. So I've divided these up by Marvel, DC, and independent comics, and I've listed out all of the comics that I'm going to be looking at for potential investment for this month, where I'll be putting my money. And again, I'm the one basket with all my eggs in it type of person. So I look at all of these, and if it's something I want, I may add it to my cart just so I have it. But for the most part, I'm going to select one of these books that could potentially be very profitable, and I'm going to add it to my cart, buy it, and see what happens with it. So let's get to the Marvel books to start with. So the first one is Avengers 48, and I've got the 3 different categories here for what I look at for very low risk, very likely to have an increase in value. If it's got a first appearance in it, if it's a #1 issue, and if it's got a really cool cover. So the first one is Avengers 48, and it may have a first appearance. And the reason I say it may have a first appearance is because the She-Hulk has been going through training. She's been kidnapped by the Winter Guard. They took her to the Red Room in Russia, and they're training her to be basically the Winter Soldier. And when they kidnapped her, she became red. So that is one of the colors of Hulk's, is red. And there was another red She-Hulk, but that was Betty Banner. So now this is Jen Walters, who has all along been the sensational but first savage She-Hulk. But she is going to be in this issue, supposedly for the first time, the Winter She-Hulk. So that's something interesting. Might be a first appearance that has some legs, depends on what they do with it. Could be a really cool issue. It's got a pretty neat cover. The next one is Black Widow 11, and if you read the synopsis and previews, it says it's the possible first issue with the twins. And it's got a pretty neat cover. People will like this. It's a beautiful cover. And that's the Hughes cover. I should mention that the first Winter She-Hulk, I'm going with the Garen cover. I don't know if there are other covers, and I'm not going to mention variants that have really rare covers. I'm not going to mention any covers that aren't out yet, that we can't see. So I'm putting my recommendations in here on which cover I think that you should go with. The third one is Dark Ages #1, and this is kind of like an Avengers or Marvel Heroes type of thing. It could have first appearance because the description says this is what the Watcher's been waiting for. A danger older than the Earth threatens everything. So all of the Marvel heroes are supposedly going to be trying to battle against whatever this new large entity is. We don't know what it's going to be. It is a #1 issue. It's Dark Ages #1. And I couldn't find any really cool covers. I thought maybe the Lee cover was going to be the best of the choices. So that's the one that I would prefer. Fourth one on the list is Darkhold Alpha #1. I don't know that it has a first appearance in it. It is a #1 issue, and I don't know that it really has any great covers. The Smallwood cover is one that I think is probably the best. And the synopsis is one of the greatest sorcerers in the multiverse has found the Darkhold. I believe it's Doctor Doom. The Scarlet Witch must gather the world's greatest hero and unleash their inner darkness. So there's potential there for, oh, this is the first Dark Spider-Man or something like that. We'll see. Next we have Death of Doctor Strange. Is it the first appearance? I don't know. The description says, who would protect Earth and keep the mystical evils at bay when Doctor Strange, if he dies. It's also a #1 issue, and because of what they say here, I don't know if they would introduce a new character or if it's just going to be one of the existing Scarlet Witch or something like that. The next one is Defenders #2. It has been confirmed to be first appearances of a few characters. It is not a #1 issue, it's a #2. I don't know that it has a great cover. There is a Rodriguez teaser cover, which they don't say anything, they don't show it online. But there is a regular cover that looks okay. It says meet Taya, Omnimax, and more as they expand the cosmos. So I think they're going to be introducing new characters. The next one is Fantastic Four 36. This has no first appearances to my knowledge. It's not a #1 issue, but it does have an incredibly looking, really cool cover. Kind of similar to what Alex Ross has done with some of his books, or even the Marvels, the old Marvels books. The Brooks cover looks really cool. Kazar, Lord of the Savage Land, to my knowledge, doesn't have any first appearances, but it is a #1 issue. It does say that Kazar is resurrected with new abilities. The Sayas cover has him coming out of the grave. So it could be the appearance of him with new abilities, but I'll tell you what, if Superman got new abilities, and he has numerous times, are those key issues? They are, but nobody's going out of their way to collect every key issue or new issue where Superman or Spider-Man or whomever gets a new power. If it's early on in the run, it's understandable, but this late and for Superman wouldn't make that much of a difference, I don't think. Kazar, I don't know that he has a big fan base anyway, so him having new abilities, who knows. The Last Annihilation of Wakanda, #1. It is a #1 issue. It may have a first appearance. I don't know. I bet against it. It says a new hero emerges. Leading the Wakandan forces is none other than the legendary M'Baku. The tan cover looks pretty cool. I think that's M'Baku with the Black Panther outfit on. Hard to know for sure. Demon Days Cursed Web #1. It is a first issue. Does it have first appearances? I don't know. If you look at the cover, it looks like you've got a lot of characters that are well. It says Mariko Yoshida journeys. Mariko is Wolverine's old flame. She finds a magical wolf with 3 toes and a strange girl with a pet spider. Are those new characters? I don't know. There are 3 deadly creatures in these woods too. A mysterious blue-skinned woman, which I'm pretty sure is Mystique, and a giant with super strength and claws. I'm pretty sure that's Sabretooth. The Momoko cover looks the best, in my opinion. Then you've got Miles Morales, Spider-Man #30. Is it a first appearance? Kind of. Miles has got a new suit, so that's the attention draw there. The Clark cover shows his new suit. There are a bunch of other covers that you can pre-order, but we don't know what they look like, so I'm going to avoid those. Ultimate Comics Fallout 4 Facsimile Edition. Not a first appearance. Not a #1 issue. The cover is not, like, crazy iconic. Now, is it a first appearance? Well, it's not technically a first appearance, but it is a facsimile edition of Miles Morales' first appearance. So, kind of, yes, it is a first appearance, but it's reprinting Ultimate Fallout 4, and the cover was done by Mark Bagley. So that's something to keep in mind. Red, White, Black, and Yellow, Justice League #6. Not a first appearance to my knowledge, not a #1 issue, but it does have a iconic looking cover that mimics the Justice League, and that's by Andolfo, Mirko Andolfo. Batman 112, first appearance, not a #1, not a fantastic cover. The Jimenez cover is the one I prefer that I can see. And it says New Hero Peacekeeper X. I Am Batman #1. Don't know if it has a first appearance, but it is a #1 issue. It says with a new and improved bat suit. So it's a new bat suit. Jace, the new Batman in this series, hits the streets, and it's got multiple covers. I think the Capullo cover shows the new Batman outfit the best, or the bat suit the best. Black Manta #1 is a #1, has a first appearance in it. Devil Ray, a new competitor for the role of the biggest villain underwater. Devil Ray was in the cartoon series, I believe, for Justice League, but again, cartoon. I don't know that he's ever been in print, so this, I believe, is his first appearance in print. The next one, Blue and Gold, #3, actually. I think it is a first appearance because it says the $1 million debut of Buggle, which I think he's already got an electronic or futuristic thing that flies around in a little hover guy called Skeet. And Buggle, I think, and that's Booster Gold. I think he might have made one for Blue Beetle called Buggle. So I think that's what this probably is. Not going to be worth anything in my opinion, but something I wanted to add to the list just to kind of show you what types of things they have out there. If you don't have a lot of thought about these things, you might say, oh yeah, that $1 million debut of Buggle, that's a new character. Well, it's probably just a little bug machine. Kind of like Herbie with the Fantastic Four. Checkmate #4, the all-new Checkmate. Is that a first appearance? I don't know. Collection of the most dangerous spy masters must team up to take back the world. Who is the secret hero behind Checkmate? I don't know if they're going to have somebody that's already existing. Who knows? The Taylor cover looks pretty neat. Justice League 68. The Justice League has some new members. Well, I looked at Justice League 67, and it didn't say anything about introduction of new members. It said there was a battle, and I don't know if because of that they have new people that pulling onto their squad, so I'll give that a question mark. Independent Comics, there's Primordial #1. It is a #1 issue, and all of these are #1 issues. So these are independent comics. Independent comics there's a dozen new ones every month. I excluded some off this list that really didn't make the cut, in my opinion. They do have first appearances in them because they are new comics. The covers, I can't really say that I really loved any of the covers, although I did list the covers here that I preferred for what I could see. So the first one, the Shimzu cover looks cool, the Ward cover looks cool, the Ferragato cover is the only cover for the second one. Sorrentino for May's book #1 looks really cool. Harding cover for Ma, the Epting cover here. The Impossible Jones only has one cover again, and then the Rachel cover for this one. But Primordial #1, mind-bending sci-fi collides with Cold War thriller. 1957, the USA responded with 2 monkeys. So the Soviets sent out 2 dogs, the US sent out 2 monkeys, Abel and Baker, into Earth's orbit. Unbeknownst to everybody, they did not die in orbit. They were taken, and now they're coming home. So alternate history type of book. So where they go from there could be a hot book, who knows? Could be optioned into a TV show, who knows? Last flight out, Earth is rendered uninhabitable. Humanity is chosen to evacuate to the stars with just 24 hours left until the last ark designed to evacuate Earth residents leaves for a yikes. Again, a lot of these are on here because, oh, well, maybe they could turn this into a show and then it could blow up in popularity and maybe be worth some money. Maze book number 1, a lonely building inspector grieving the loss of his puzzle-loving daughter receives a mysterious phone call from a girl claiming it's her and she's trapped in the middle of a labyrinth. Could be an interesting story. Ma number 1, really cool cover. After an assault, the violent encounter awakens something in Marion, triggering warped mutations in her body and transforms her into a monster. Very cool story. Telepaths. An electromagnetic disturbance results in the sudden awakening of telepathic powers in the 10th of the Earth's population. Where do they go from there? Impossible Jones. Explosive first issue. Yeah, I probably could have left that off. The gritty origin of comics' newest sensation. A thief gets powers, is mistaken for a superhero. Looks kind of childish, but that's just the artwork. The story should be pretty good. These damn kids, this is not childish artwork. This is more mature artwork, and I'm guessing it's going to be a more mature story. In a small town in Vicksburg, Mississippi, the children have been acting strange. There have been reports of parents being attacked by the children they raised. I'm guessing everybody's getting attacked by these children. So out of all of these, a lot of these check the boxes. Some of these are pretty interesting in the indie area, and they have, in my opinion, the most potential to quickly have the option to go on fire, depending on if they get optioned for a movie or TV show or something like that. Some of these damn kids, possibly telepaths, possibly Ma, maybe. Maze books, well, actually Maze book and Last Flight Out are kind of depressing, and whether they're good stories or not, I think people prefer to stay away from depressing things with TV shows, but who knows. The one that caught my eye here is this one by Image, and Image is probably the biggest indie companies. I don't know that this is going to be really slept on, but Primordial number 1, if you look at the cover and compare it to an already existing one that I had shown here, which is Department of Truth. You compare the two covers, similar art styles, reminiscent of each other. Are they trying to piggyback on that a little bit? Very likely, very possibly. And then you look at all of the ones up above from Marvel and DC, the boxes that they check. As I said, if you want to check the boxes, you're going to be reducing your risk. But I'm going to throw you a curveball this month. This is the first month. I wouldn't say that you shouldn't invest in any of these. They're all worth a roll of the dice. These are worth a roll of the dice. Some of them I like better than others, but for all I know, Impossible Jones could be worth $100 because nobody orders it and there's only 300 copies of it. And rarity does make the price of things go up, especially if things catch on. But what I would say from my recommendation is Ultimate Comics Fallout number 4 Facsimile Edition. Now this is a comic that I would speculate on if I said, well, a year or two from now, I want to make sure that I've made my money back. I want to reduce my risk, but I still want to have some pretty good income from the book that I'm investing in September. So let me take a look at that one with you. And the first thing I want to look at is facsimile editions. So this is a facsimile edition. So facsimile, if we look on our handy dandy Go Collect, and we look up facsimile, we come up with a lot of different comics. And 2018, 2019, 2019, you look at all the dates on the years that these came out, they're only a couple of years old. All of these are fairly recent, 2020 even. So if we start again at the top and we say, all right, well, let's say I bought 20 of the Ultimate Fallout 4 facsimile editions. They're all in great shape. I have them pre-screened for $6 from CGC, and they're only going to grade it and slab it if it's 9.8 or above. Fantastic Four facsimile edition from 2018, and yeah, and I kind of covered all that, but $100. That's pretty dang good. So if you spent $20, $25 getting it slabbed, it's worth $100, and you've got 20 of them. How much did you spend on the comic too? Yeah, you're gonna spend $5 on the comic, 3 or 4 if you get it at a discount from certain places online. Silver Surfer 14, Incredible Hulk 181 from 2019, facsimile edition. I have one of these. I wish I had done the single issue speculation starting back then, because that is one I would have hit hard. Amazing Spider-Man 252, facsimile edition. This is actually probably about the price, half the price of the actual edition. Look at some of these 50, 50, 60, 80. So if you know which ones to look for, which ones to go after, Giant Size X-Men, I expect this one's going to keep going up. Amazing Fantasy 15, again, why would anybody not have gotten that? I got one, I wish I would have gotten a lot of them. Incredible Hulk number 1, I expect this one to go up, up, up. So you can see, for the most part, if you're ordering decent covers, like iconic covers, first appearances, things like that, the value of the comic is going to go up. Ultimate Fallout 4 is a key comic. It is hot. It's probably hotter than almost any book out there. If we look at Ultimate Fallout 4, you're going to see here there are numerous prints that are already out there. Oh wow, there are already numerous prints out there from different years? Or, yeah, there are. Most of them are from 2011. There's one from 2020, which is a parody one. But they're from 2011. There haven't been any other copies of Ultimate Fallout 4 printed since 2011. And let's look at those. So the original is at $2,900 for the original issue. Second print, $1,000 for 9.8. The variant of the original issue, $20,000 because it was a 1 in 25 variant, so it's super rare. Another second printing variant, $500 for 9.8. So the prices on those are way up. People want this comic. The thing that you have to understand also is that people will want this comic and they can't afford any of these issues right here. So once the facsimile edition is out and that's done being printed and not being reprinted, people are going to say, well, that's the next cheapest option if I want to read Ultimate Fallout 4, if I want to own one. So they'll start buying those. The value of those will stay high. The newsstand edition here, newsstand editions are pretty rare too, especially in good shape. So you see there's only 13 sales of those. 4,700, 400, 642, 13 sales. They don't have enough data to tell you what the fair market value is for this. When they come out with the Ultimate Fallout 4 facsimile edition, it's going to look exactly like this on the cover. The back of it or the inside cover might say, the back of it will probably say this is the real price of it, or the price inside of the box here, wow, $3.99. It might stay the same for the facsimile edition. That's kind of expensive for a comic 4 or 10 years ago, but I guess that's when the price of comics went up. It's been going up. So that was the second of 3 points I wanted to show you here for why I'm choosing Ultimate Fallout 4 facsimile edition. The third one goes back to a little something else called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I want to show you, this is very similar to what I just showed you with the second printings of the Ultimate Fallout 4. So you can see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 1, $140,000 for 9.8, 383 sales. So that is the first issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There were numerous prints of this. The third printing, $4,800. In 1985. Let's look at the next page. So we've gotten 2 printings so far. You can see they're both very valuable. People want to own the first issue, a copy of it. They don't care as much how old it is or what printing it is. They want a copy of it. 5th printing, different cover, but it's still the first issue, 5th printing, 1988, 3 years after the original. Math, $1,750 for a 9.8. Let's keep going. 4th printing, again, different cover, $1,200 at a 9.8 from 1984. So we've got the first, third, fourth, and 5th printing. Second printing, $41,000, 1984. So you see there are 5 printings of this. There have been more, but if you look at, let's look back, Free Comic Book Day edition, there have only been 60 sales, fair market value pending. They don't have enough sales to really get the data, but I'm pretty sure that's holding its value. So with that being said, looking at the spreadsheet, I believe that this is the one that will pretty much guarantee you're going to be making some money if you buy these en masse. Now, I can't guarantee it, obviously, but this is what I'm investing in. This is what I'm going to be buying. It's fun money. I don't put anything above that. If my fun money was $10,000, would I put $10,000 towards this? Well, if I wanted to make sure that I was safe, make sure that I had the potential to make 20,000, 40,000, maybe, yeah. Some of these other ones might be good too. I think Primordial might be a good one. Telepaths might be a decent one. It might be even worth throwing some at these damn kids. Something else to consider? You might want to invest in Last Annihilation of Wakanda. A new hero emerges. Well, we know Chadwick Boseman passed away, and we know that they're probably going to have to replace him. Black Panther is iconic. He's a huge hero to everyone, and they need a leader. They need someone. I think they're going to probably take this into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and whoever comes out of this, if it is M'Baku, people loved him. He was a great actor. He's a great character. Personally, I love Shuri, but I also think that she's a character that deserves the freedom to do whatever she wants to. When you're the leader, you don't have a lot of freedom. You should, but you don't. M'Baku's already sat on a throne. He knows what it takes to be a leader. I wish Black Panther's mom could have possibly been the Black Panther. I think that would have been really super cool too. She also knows what it takes to be a leader. Another speculative purchase would be Defenders #2. There's a bunch of new characters. If even one of those catches on, could be pretty decent. And then of course there's Dark Ages. If it's a big new threat, big new baddie, I'm reminded of Dark Winter and Null. So kind of like, okay, we're gonna have this big thing here for 3 or 4 issues and then nothing. This Dark Ages miniseries, and it's not gonna go anywhere. Are they really gonna use this bad guy again? Who knows? And then First Winter She-Hulk, that could be another possibility. So those are ones that I would look at if I wasn't going to be choosing Ultimate Comics Fallout 4 Facsimile Edition. So those are my picks. Again, use your fun money. Don't use money that you can't spend on this if you're interested in doing this. Make your own choices. There may be some things on here that you are interested in that you think will do well, that maybe I haven't said, this is my choice. Feel free to play with it on your own. Have fun with it. It's your money, your budget. So the important thing is pick what you like. Again, I'm Clay with Clay Culture Comics, and please, if you can, like the video, watch some of my other videos. I cover a couple other interesting topics, and I'll be trying to put one of these out every month. You should see previews for October, November, December, and I'd be happy to read any of your comments below.